Good evening, race fans. It's Jesse Olson back for NAGP Monday Night Season 35. We are at Skip Barber Speedway here in Alabama this week. Sorry for the late start. We've had some technical difficulties getting tonight's broadcast going, but it looks like we are up and running. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. Give me a second here and I will get us situated and get us on track. Qualifying has already started and it's just a little bit past halfway over. And we hop on board with Joel Ekman, and he takes it off. So we'll have to find somebody else to hop on board with. Sorry we missed you last week, folks. It was a great race at Motorsport. I wasn't able to broadcast for you, but we're bringing it back here for Monday night at Skip Barber. In case you missed that announcement, qualifying's already started. 10 minutes left in qualifying. Provisional pole sitter looks like Ian Jolicor, and I believe that's Michael McKinday and provisional second there. David Poole in third. Brad Mary's in fourth. Kevin Lemansky in fifth. Kevin Miller sixth. Tom Traskell seventh. Brian Story eighth. Dale Ballweg ninth. Joel Ekman now 11th. Philippe Gill in 12th. Chris Moses in 13th. Sergio Calderon in 14th, and it looks like we've got a number of drivers who haven't posted times yet. Or maybe they're just not clean laps. Either way, looks like we've got some times up on the board. Ian Jolicor is out front right now with a 106.491. So Ian making great pace to see he doesn't have any ballast on his car for this week. So we'll talk about a little bit about last week later on. Let's ride on board with Ian here as he turns a lap around this racetrack. Whoa! Ian has a little bit of trouble. I believe that's turn 7, which consists of about 3 parts. It narrows down to one lane, and it's really tricky to get through there. Can be a good passing opportunity if you get the move pulled off before you get there, but it's a tight space to get through. Barely enough room for one car on the racing line. So Ian's has a little trouble on his lap. Looks like we've got some other drivers on an out lap. While Michael McKenday's driving around. Let's see if we can't get the old track map pulled up for everybody here. Alrighty, here we go. Here's a look at Skip Barber Raceway. I don't know if that's the official name yet. I'm not too familiar with this track. I apologize. I've seen it a couple times on TV, and I'm pretty sure it's in Alabama, and that's about all I know. But it is a interesting looking track from its configuration. It's got some long straightaways. We should see some passing opportunities down this front stretch and a couple of these longer stretches along the backside here. So a really tight turn 1. It loops around and it carries some speed down through turn 4. Turn 5 should be an excellent passing area there. I was mentioning earlier, turn 7 is a really tricky little kind of S's, really slow one-lane type section. Blast down the back straightaway. A pretty fast chicane on the back end, and then another blast down the straightaway, and then you come around to the last final sequence of turns there. So looks to be an interesting racetrack for these cars. These cars do race here in real life, so that's about all familiar I am with these cars at these tracks. But should be fun to watch tonight. So Ian Jolicor still your pole sitter. Philippe Gill now in second place there. Philippe not too far off Ian's time with a 106.504. So call that a tenth. Not even. Just about. And it looks like we have a new pole sitter here with about 5:45 to go. Matt Taylor, lugging around 10 kilograms of ballast. He runs a 106. And as soon as I say that, Philippe Gil hops right back up to the pole with a 106.1, besting Taylor by about a quarter of a second there. So now we're starting to see drivers get the hang of this track. Got the tires warmed up, starting to put in some fast ones. And just as soon as I say that, Philippe takes it for a little bit of drift there. I think that was turn 5. Let's see if David Pohl's on track. Looks like he is. Sorry, folks. I'm messing with my broadcast app here. Looks like I wasn't getting the right cars, but here I've got the cams on Philippe here. He's your pole sitter right now with a 106.1. Ian Jolicoeur has come back to the second spot by missing just the pole by 0.02 of a second. So let's play around with some cameras here and see what kind of views we get here. Well, that's not a very good camera view, is it? All right, we're right on board with Kevin Lekmansky here. He's got that sharp looking, I think that's Joseph Newgarden's livery from Team Penske. Kevin's in the 9th position with a 106.844. Well, we're watching Kevin on his lap. Looks like he's ran up on some lap traffic, so I'm sure he's going to be trying to make some space or find a gap on the racetrack where he can get a faster time in. That's that tight sector 7. And he basically throws it off to get around Tom Traskell. So I guess Kevin's doing what he's got to do to get a time in here. Only 2.5 minutes left on qualifying. Hop back up right now to your pole sitter, Philippe Gil, followed by Ian Jolicoeur. Like I said, just 0.02 off of Philippe. Brad Marys has jumped to the 3rd spot with a 106.276. Matt Taylor is now in 4th, 106.3. Aaron Parsons has crept into the 5th position. David Pohl, 6th position. Michael McKenday running 7th. Mark DeGraw looks like he's in the pits running 8th. Kevin Lekmansky, who are just on board, running 9th. And Jonathan Cuppett rounds out your top 10 right now. So let's hop back to Philippe Gil. Looks like he's on a quick one. Better yet, let's hop to Matt Taylor because he might be on an even faster one. Matt shows 0.2 up in the 1st sector. Matt gets a lot of curb there, and then he kind of gets it all wrong. Oh, then he gets pummeled into, and I think that, I'm not sure if that was Philippe Gil or his teammate, but one of the yellow cars for sure. So Matt's going to have to try to get another go, and I don't know if he can get a lap around. He's going to have to get out and hustle. Aaron Parsons looks like he's out he's on a fast lap, although he's down about 7/10 at the moment, so he needs to find 3/10 if he wants to get that pole position. All right, so you're watching Aaron here. Looks like he's going to try to get a fast lap in here as time expires. If anybody's got a flyer in him, it's Ezza. So let's see how he makes it through the first part of his stint. So far, it looks like a clean run. Hasn't missed any apexes or had any offs. Right now shows his first sector time is level with Philippe's pole lap. As just a little over a quarter second behind, 0.276. So 3/10 would get him into that pole position. As it loses a tenth there, in that middle sector, and as it gets a 106.214, that's not good enough for pole, but it is good enough for third position. So we're just out of time here. Did Ian get a lap in? Let's hop on board with him. Looks like he's in that tricky Sector 7 complex there. Oh, Ian gets a full throttle and a handful of oversteer. I think that's probably going to ruin his chances. Yeah, he's taken into pit road there. So no best lap from him. Philippe Gill looks like he crosses the line on a flyer. Did he go any faster? Oh, that might have just been a recon lap for him. Shows his best as his last lap is 2:19. So that wraps up qualifying, folks. Philippe Gill puts in the fastest time. And hold the phone just 1 second. My results show Mark DeGraw got in a 105.996 according to my results. We'll have to wait for the official results. But right now I show Mark DeGraw in provisional pole. Only person to break the 106 barrier with a 105.996. So good job, Mark, if you were able to nip that pole at the very last second from Philippe Gill, just as the clock ran out. So we'll be doing 52 laps here this evening. Air temperatures 20, asphalt temperatures 27 degrees Celsius. That's probably right around 84 degrees. Drops a little bit here for the race temperatures, and a little bit of breeze. 10-kilometer breeze, so rough about 6 mile an hour. So not a really nice day for racing here at Barber Motorsports Park. Let's talk a little bit about our point standing going in. So we missed the broadcast last week, but there was a race. Last week's winner was John Houston. Might not be the best odds to win, but congrats to John for running a good race and getting the win. At the top of the points table right now, Philippe Gill with 63 points, but not far behind him, Matt Taylor, 60. John Houston got into the third position with 59 points. Mark DeGraw with 57. Chris Moses, 56. Brad Mary's 54. And Aaron Parsons, 53. So the top 7 separated by just 10 points. And just outside of that top 7 is Kevin Lekmansky with 39. So far from locked up as we go 4 races in. I think this is going to be a battle. It probably ends up coming down to the last race with the way the rules and the ballast have worked so far this season. Your team champions led by Team Brock Dambam. That's Aaron Parsons and John Houston putting together a row with 112 points. Precision Motor Racing That's Chris Moses, Brad Marys, sitting 2 points behind them with 110. Captain Clutch Motorsports with 96 points. That's Kevin Lukmansky and Mark DeGraw. And TCB Racing with 91 points. That's Matt Taylor and who's this? Jonathan Cuppet, rather. His teammate there. They're sitting in the fourth position, 91 points. And just outside of them, Alternative Lifestyle? Yeah, Alternative Lifestyle Racing. That'd be Ian Jolicoeur and Andrew Warner with 84 points. And I believe that Michael McKenday has contributed, or they have had a substitute driver contribute to their points. So good on them, just sitting outside in that fifth position. So that's your points rundown. Let's go ahead and run down the order of our cars here. So looks like we get Mark DeGraw is your pole sitter. And he put in a 105.996. Philippe Gill in position 2. Ian Jolicoeur, P3. Aaron Parsons, P4. Brad Marys in the 5th position. Matt Taylor, 6th. Michael McKenday, 7th. David Poole, 8th. Jonathan Cuppet, 9th. Kevin Lukmansky, 10th. David Zahn, 11th. Chris Moses, 12th. Martin Smith, newcomer, 13th. Kevin Miller, 14th. John Wathen, 15th. John Houston, 16th. He's carrying some ballast this week. Mateo, 17th. Jake Feemster, 18th. Alan Jacobs, 19th. Joel Ekman in 20th. Iggy Jordi, 21st. Tom Traskell, 22nd. David Rowley back, 23rd. Santiago, 24th. Dale Ballweg, 25th. Josh Slade, 26th. Greg Myers, 27th. Brandon Story, 28th. Sergio Calderon, 29th. Lou Mascarelli, and 30th. And here we go. Try not to miss the start here, folks. Mark DeGraw looks like he gets the whole shot and is able to hold back Philippe Gill. That's a tricky turn 1 section there. Not a lot of room to get through as they file back through the second and third turns there. Looks like cars already starting to straighten out, and Mark DeGraw is out to a quick jump. Let's hop on board with Philippe Gill. Oh, and just as I say that, is that Mark DeGraw that takes it off? Coming out of the 5th corner? Sorry, we just caught that, folks, but it looks like Mark DeGraw had an incident and he's fallen. Oh, he hasn't even got the car removed from that same spot. So Mark DeGraw, your pole sitter, the last second has an early incident. That looked to be turn 5. And he's going to the back of the field. That gives Philippe Gill the first position. And Philippe's already got a second and a half out to Ian Jolicoeur here. So a little bit of drama here on this first lap. Ian's got Brad Marys on his tail. Let's hop on board with Brad and Ian. Just like that lap wasn't in the book. It's a quick lap here, folks. Just barely over a minute. But it is action-packed. Lots of passing opportunities. Lots of areas for mistakes. You see, Brad's got is he on the button? I see a flashing number on his dash. He might be trying to make a run here into this. Whoa! Brad almost locks it up. It almost gets in the back of Ian. Ian's having trouble putting the power down. Brad on the alternate tires. Looks like Ian's on the primary, so Ian might be a so-called sitting duck here early on. The alternate tires should come to life much faster and have better pace than the primary, so Brad hounding Ian here for position 2. So we'll stay with this. This looks like to be the best battle on track at the moment. Outside of that, Aaron Parsons moved up to 4th. David Poole in 5th. Kevin Lukmansky up to 6th. Jonathan Cuppet in 7th. Kevin Miller in 8th. John Houston in 9th. And Mateo in 10th. And there goes Brad. Looks like he's going to get the move done into turn 1. So 3 laps in. And Philippe Gill's out to a 4 and a little over 4-second lead from Brad Marys. Philippe Gill also on those alternates. So once Philippe got some clear track, he was able to put the power down and walk away from these guys. Now the battle here is going to be on for third. Aaron Parsons starting to reel in Ian Jolicoeur. See a little bit of lock up there in turn, I believe that's turn 7 there from Ian. That's going to bring Aaron Parsons in a little bit closer. Ian and Aaron both starting on the primary tire. So no tire advantage in this type situation for Aaron. He's going to have to do it all with what he's got in the car and maybe some push to pass. As a reminder, we are running push to pass this season. I can't recall exactly how many they get per race. Let me take a look at my notes here, folks, and that'll tell me. So it looks like they're getting 10 push to passes. That's 50 horsepower for 15 seconds. They can use 10 of these a race. They can use them whenever they want. They can use them at the beginning. They can use them at the end. They can not use them at all. But once you burn that 50 horsepower for 15 seconds, you are locked out for another 20. So there's no combining push to passes in consecutive fashion here. And I don't know if there's enough room to really do that here. There's some decent straights out here at Barber, but not the longest of straights. This is a pretty fast section here leading into this. I could call it a chicane, but it's pretty quick. It's might be one of the only chicanes I'd be fond of. It's got a good pace to it here, and they make their way down into. It's almost like a bowl, this last section here of corners 12, 13, 14, and 15. And they'll make this left-hander here onto the main straightaway. And right by pit road and into turn 1. So that completes another lap. 5 laps in. Philippe Gill out front. Brad Marys is about 3.8 seconds back. So he's reeled him in about half a second on Philippe. We'll keep an eye on that lead. But right now the battle here is for P3. Let's hop back on board with Eza. See if he can bring it in. Also some battles happening in the back. In the midfield here. Positions 10 through 15 are all pretty close. Why don't we jump into the middle of that mix? Yeah, that's super close here. We got Jake Feemster, the sharp-looking purple car here. He's in the middle. Jake has a big wag in the rear. Gets oversteers, able to hang on, but that's going to let Michael McKinday slip by. And they all get to single file again to come through that tight 7th corner there. That's really kind of 3 corners in one. 7, 7A, and 7B. Michael McKinday gets another one done. McKinday is back into 12th position. So I'm not sure if McKinday maybe had a little trouble on that starting to slip back, and now he's starting to work his way up through the field. He's closing in on Iggy Jordy and Tom Traskell pretty quickly here. I expect we'll see McKinday get a move done here in a few moments. McKinday right up to the back of Iggy Jordy. Is there room to do it into turn 5? This is a good passing section here, but you've got to get on the binders and get it slowed down. The track kind of falls away from you there. McKinday gets it done. He's in the P11. Now he's on the hunt for Tom Traskell. So battle for thirds loosened up a little bit. Just about 3/4 of a second between Ian Jolicoeur and, it looks to be Kevin Lekmansky. So we did have a change of position here. Let's hop back up here. Kevin Lekmansky now putting pressure on Ian Jolicoeur. I see Kevin's on the alternate tire. So he should be having better pace here, at least for the opening part of this race. Again, the drivers have to run any combination of the alternate and primary tires. The primary tires being a little bit harder compound, if you would. They don't come to temperature as quick, and they don't have the ultimate pace that the alternate tires do, but they do have longevity. So some folks like Kevin looking to take advantage of the alternate tire right out the get-go and try to get some track position. Other drivers like Ian, obviously having trouble hanging on the back here, and Aaron Parsons in fifth are on the primary tire. Jonathan Cuppett and Matt Taylor. Looks like, well, that can't be right. I don't think that's the right liveries, but I showed Jonathan Cuppett here, unless he's got a lap car. Anyways, Jonathan Cuppett here in the 6th position, Matt Taylor in the 7th position. Some time between those guys. Everybody on the primary tire so far. John Houston in the 8th position. Michael McKenday already up to 9th. We got cars going sideways behind it. It's Mateo. It's Chris Moses dropping like a rock in the pond. Chris spins a donut, gets it turned around. We've seen some cars with some wing damage already. So fortunate for Chris. Looks like he had an incident with maybe Mateo. But that's going to cost him a lot of on-track position. Hop back up here with Joel Ekman. Looks like Joel Ekman's got a mirror full of Iggy Giordia right now. And then Iggy's got a mirror full from Greg Myers. And then Greg Myers has got a battle happening behind him as Mark DeGraw is starting to come up through the field now. Mark had that very unfortunate first lap spin from the P1 position. He had to let the whole field go by. And he's got himself about halfway through the field. We do have a couple cars that appear to be out. That'd be Tom Traskell, John Wathen, Kevin Miller, and Sergio Calderon. Well, Greg just looks like he got out of Mark's way there. Mark is on those alternate tires. He's got a battle happening right in front of him. He's sitting in the catbird seat. So let's just hang tight here with Mark DeGraw. See, he's running down Joel Ekman and Iggy Giordia. Joel Ekman's wing is sideways. He must have got into some tussling there in the opening laps. Maybe took some contact. I mean, somebody got in the back of him there, but that wing looks like it's damaged. Mark's able to get around Joel. Takes a lot of curb there in that 7th corner. And then trying to put the power down. Mark lifts a little bit just to give Iggy some room. Mark's on those alternate tires, Iggy on those primary tires. So I'm guessing Mark still got decent pace left in his tires, enough to catch up to Iggy pretty quickly. Looks like he got a little offline, but I would expect Mark to catch right back up to Iggy here. Up front still Philippe Gill, but Brad Marys has closed the gap. This looks like about a 1 second. Let's get on board. Down to half a second. I'm not sure if Philippe had a problem or Brad maybe just nailed the line, but he is right up behind Philippe now. So this is your battle for P1. Both drivers on the alternate tires. As I come across, let's take a look at Philippe's last lap. 108.95, so almost a 109. And these guys are doing low 107s of their best laps. So that was about 2 seconds off. Philippe definitely had a mistake somewhere. And here goes Brad Marys. So you're going to be able to get the pass done. He locks it up jumping into the turn 5 section there. Brad had a great run on Philippe there, but wasn't able to get the pass done. Hearing a lot of lockup from these guys. So they're, some of these sections are blast down a straightaway like we're seeing here, and then haul it back down for some of these really tight hairpin corners and tricky little sections that are very narrow. Lots of elevation change here at Barber. All together, it looks like a fun little roller coaster to get around. We're doing it 52 times tonight, so laps around the Sixes mostly in qualifying. We saw Mark DeGraw barely crack that with a 105.9, and these guys are putting in great pace already. Brad Mary's with a 107 flat, just a second off your qualifying time. And it's likely he's got a bunch of fuel in there too when he set that lap. So when did Brad set his fast lap? Let's take a look. Brad's 107 flat came at lap 7. So probably still had a decent amount of fuel in the tank. He got right into the back of Philippe and was about a tenth or two off of him, but it looks like Philippe's been able to calm down, recover himself. Oh, and Brad gets some power on oversteer there. Good catch there by Brad. Smooth hands. That's going to let Philippe get away a little bit more, out to about 6/10 of a second. So we'll top back here to Mark DeGraw. Looks like Mark is battling Jake Feimster. Not sure if he just got around him or if Jake's pressing Mark for 11th position. I tend to think Mark on the alternate tires and with his ultimate pace was probably passing Jake. It looks like he's starting to pull away. So Mark DeGraw now, watching him come back up the field. He's in P11 currently, so he dropped all the way back to what was, I think, 27th position, and he's got some rear wing damage to boot. So Mark doing best he can in the situation he's been dealt. So I'm sure he's kicking himself for what happened there in that opening lap, and not sure if that wing is damaged as a result of that incident or maybe just trying to work his way back up through the field. So 13 laps in. That flew right by, folks. I'll be curious here. I didn't catch much word around the paddock around what the pit strategies will be. I haven't seen anybody pull into the pits yet. But with a 52-lap race, expect to see some of these guys coming in the next handful of laps. Philippe Gill still out front, and he's out front by a bunch. He had Brad Mary's right behind him. I wonder if Brad maybe took a pit stop. Let's pull up Brad's time. He did a 1:30. So I'm not sure if that was an incident. The car doesn't look damaged, or if that was a time that Brad maybe just took a pit stop. So let's keep an eye and see if anybody else jumps in the pits here in the next lap, or if maybe that was just something we missed with Brad's car. This is a treacherous little track. It's easy to have a spin or have it off, and with how short it is, there's always cars going by, so you got to be really careful getting the car back on track. And sometimes just recovering from an incident and finding a space on the track to get back up to speed can set you really far back. It's up on back here with Greg Myers still on those primary tires. He's being hounded by Chris Moses. We saw Moses have an incident earlier. He's on the same tire as Greg. Both on the primary tires here. Chris doing 109.4s. Last lap of 109.9. Greg a little bit slower than Chris at the moment. His best lap of 1:10.8. So a little over a second back from Chris. But ultimate pace is not always the key to finishing well. Greg Myers is a testament to that. He'll probably do those 110s all day long. Looks like Greg gave Chris plenty of room. Not sure if he gave a little lift there or they got a little wheel spin getting off the corner. Chris is able to get that moved on Greg Myers. So they trade positions. Chris Moses now in P14. Greg Myers slips back to P15. Tap back on board here with Jake Feimster, who just had Mark DeGraw get around him. Now he's under pressure from Iggy Jordia. Looks like we've lost David Poole from the server. I didn't catch that, what happened there. David's on in the pits currently, so it looks like we do have some drivers making pit stops. I'm not sure if that's scheduled or unscheduled for David. We've got your leader in on lap 15. Philippe Gill comes in from the alternate tires. Looks like he's back on the alternate tires. And Jolicourt inherits the lead, but he ran into gaggle of traffic there. That's Dale Ballweg he's got to navigate around. Doesn't look like Ian's taken a pit stop yet, and he's on those primary tires, so maybe he can go a little bit further than these guys. We'll see how the strategy plays out. Aaron Parsons in second position, also on the primary tires. Brad Mary's right behind Eza in third. And Philippe Gill came out actually behind Brad Mary, so Brad must not have had an incident. He must have ducked in the pits a little bit early, grabbed a second set of alternate tires. So Philippe Brad look like they've made a pit stop already. Matt Taylor now in fifth position on the primary tires. Let's check Matt's times. Very solid 108s with a couple of 109s sprinkled in. So Matt doing good work here on the primary tires, just putting in the laps. This means he'll be on the alternates later and should be looking to attack some of these guys up front as they may transition over to the primary tires later in the stint. So it looked like about 13 to 15 laps were all that the alternates were good for. Jonathan Cuppett, primary tire driver right now in the sixth spot. So him and his teammate running fifth and sixth. Good showing for them. John Houston also on the primary tire in seventh. Kevin Lekmansky, who I believe was on the alternate and may have pitted to the primary. Let's check Kevin's times. He's got a 130 something on lap 15, so that's probably his pit stop. So he's pitted over. Alan Jacobs now with a good run in P9. Jake Feemster still under pressure from Iggy Jordia, but he rounds out your top 10. So it looks like we've still got 21 cars on track. We may have lost Brian Story. Again, treacherous little track, easy to have offs and some areas where you can get the car in the sand and get the car in the Armco. Really cause a lot of damage. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the broadcast booth, David Zahn joining us. Welcome, David. Thanks for hopping in. Sorry about your luck on the racetrack. I didn't catch what happened to you. Give us an update. Oh, sorry to hear that. It's a tough little track, huh? We're at 5, so we're seeing some drivers coming out of the pits here. Pit stops are cycling through. Looks like primary tire guys are starting to switch over. Yeah, 5 races in. I guess you should have a good idea of the car, but not everybody's perfected themselves, and this is probably a tough place when you're not quite comfortable in the car to get around. Yeah, we saw that right out the beginning. Ian Jolicoeur and Aaron Parsons took the primary tires on the beginning, and Ian started right at the front, and we lost pace to Philippe and Brad pretty quickly. It looks like Philippe just had a little bit of an incident, and I'm watching Santiago go for a spin there. Uh, Lots of areas to have incidents. Looks like Philippe had a little bobble there. He's lost some ground to Brad Mary, so Ian Jolicoeur is still out front, and I don't see him in the pits. It looks like he hasn't stopped yet. I don't see a pit stop on the board for Ian, and he's starting to crack down into a. He ran a 107.9 on these primary tires. That's pretty impressive. He must be at the end of a fuel stint, so he's probably a little light on fuel. But uh, from what I've seen, most of the primary times, he's got some of the best ones out there. Most of the guys running 109s, 110s. Yeah. Well, Brad is reeling him in, and Brad's clicking him off right now. In fact, just a handful of laps ago, he did a 106.877. Uh, that probably would have landed him in the top 10 for qualifying, but that's fast lap of the race now, too. So Brad is putting him in. I'm guessing he's going to go alternate, primary. So he's. Oh, and just as I say that, he almost throws it off there in that downhill kind of U-turn. I forget what turn that is. It's towards the back of the lap there, but that was a wild one. Anyways, yeah, Brad's on the alternates. He's flying. Philippe's flying behind him. He's lost, like I said, lost a few seconds, but he's doing well. Matt Taylor out there. I don't know if Matt's pitted either. Let's check his lap times. Taylor has not pitted yet either. Again, on him also running mostly 108s, 109s, the primary. So Matt and Ian, and let's check Ezza too. Ezra may either had a pit or an incident with a 124. That might be too fast for a pit. So he might have had an incident. But either way, Taylor and Jolicoeur working the primary tire pretty long here. Now, what's the comfort level here on the primaries? Can you get in, which tire do you feel more comfortable on? Yes, changing compounds or drastically changing the way a car handles can really mess with your head there a little bit, especially when you had a stint maybe a sport maybe you're coming from qualifying where you're trying we've got 25 minutes and you're putting in you know 10 15 laps in qualifying then putting on the primary tire cold sort of cold turkey for the night uh, really takes a couple laps to adjust to. Yeah, speaking of that, I don't know if you just saw that, but Brad was hunting down Ian. Ian came in for his first stop, and Brad came in for a stop as well. And I don't know. I'm not sure what Brad was doing. He puts on another set of alternates. Is it a three stop race? Is this track that tough on tires? Right, we saw Izza do that. I think by accident though, not by not by purpose strategy at Laguna, and just it would have worked out had he not had a speeding penalty on pit road. Well, Brad pitted on lap 12, and he pitted on lap 24. So if he's is he thinking about maybe doing like a 12 lap stint each time, take it to lap 36, and then do 16 on the primary? Maybe just run lighter fuel loads and get that extra time because I mean he does have the fast lap on the board. 12 and 12. Well, we got 52, so it's gonna have to be 12, 12, 12, and then four more, so 16. So maybe 16 on the primaries and or maybe another 12 and go to 48 and only run four laps on the primary. Hey, anything's possible, right? Yeah. Now, what's interesting is he stayed on the alternates. Ian took the alternates, so they are on the same tire now, both with probably similar fuel loads. So it's getting pretty heated here. Oh, Ian got in the back of a lapped car. I didn't see who the lapped car was. Oh, that's a bummer for Ian. He's got it back on track, but oh, that's unfortunate. That was turning out to be such a good battle. Let's look at Philippe. I know he started on the alternates, but he has only pitted once, and it looks like he took him to lap 15. Can you take the alternates that deep? Is that comfortable? Got it. While I was watching, looks like we have a newcomer in the field, Martin Smith. I'm not sure if he was the lap car involved, but he was like played doing his best David Hasselhoff out there in the sand for a few minutes. So I'm not sure if Martin's new to NAGP, if he's filling in for somebody. It's a cool looking car. It's got like a Martini livery on it. So if you're new, Martin, welcome. Sorry to put you on the spot right there, but hey, that's what the broadcasts are for, right? Okay. I don't think we have an Omar tonight. We do have an Iggy. So our Argentinian pairing consistently running seasons with us. Yeah, lots, and I think we expected that tonight. Yeah, lots of matriculation here, but looks like Kevin Lemansky's covered pretty well, but he's got Matt. I think Matt just took it wide. Whew, he recovered well. I thought he was off of the sand trap there. That's the battle we got on track right now. Matt Taylor, and he's on alternates with Kevin and Lemansky in front of him on primary. So Kevin might just be sitting duck. And just as I say that, Matt takes a little bit deep and does put it in the grass again. Woof. Yeah, so we were down to 20 cars, and right now just 7 on the lead lap. So staying lead lap will net you 7th, and staying in the game right now will net you 20th. Yeah, we're just past the halfway mark, so expect to probably see a couple more cars maybe have some issues. Let's find Mark DeGraw because right now he's still got a bent rear wing. I don't know if he just forgot to fix that, but he started on our in P1 and then had an incident. I think in that coming out as a turn 5-6 combination. It's kind of that downhill into the 180 hairpin, and he got on the gas. I think he just looped it by himself and had to let the whole field go by. Yeah, there's some choke points on this racetrack, turn 7 especially, where you've got to get the field down to single file. Otherwise, there's going to be incidents. I mean, just you see it so much when they race in real life here. It's just not a lot of room on the track. And I say that, and Mark DeGraw gets the broadcaster's curse. I wonder if that wing is more cosmetic or more functional damage, but it's leaning. It looks like Matt Taylor has put in a couple fast laps, and he's got right back up to Kevin Lemansky. Lemansky did 108.8 last lap, and Taylor's doing about half a second better right now. His best of a 107 dot eight. I mean, Brad's 106.7 is an absolute flyer. Possibly. And looks like Philippe's came into the pits. So if Philippe's in, he's in on lap 32, and he's grabbed the primary. So he's got. Oh, Brad, what did he? Right there in that first sector, too, right? That's turns 2, 3, and 4. And Julicor riding right next to. Oh boy, this could. Oh, just a little touch. Ian muscled through a little bit, and guess what? Now we have a 3-way battle for the lead. There we go. Here's some action. Philippe's gonna have the primary tires on. That'll be tough. Well, Philippe might be able to hang with them if they get to fighting, but already dropping back a little bit from these two. Let's hop back on board Brad and see if Brad can hunt down Ian here. Yeah, so he's going to have a tough, like I said, tough time keeping with these guys. Unless they get to racing, then that'll play right into Philippe's wheelhouse. So, yeah. Well, it's a game of mistakes, and especially at the time. Oh, and you say that, and look, he has another one. He just went through the sand trap and into the wall. Oh, Brad's going to be livid. Let's keep him off comms for a while. Yeah, we've seen that with a couple guys this season. Once they put the car into a spin or a slide, um, man, it's like Bambi on ice trying to watch these guys get it back on the track sometimes. Yeah, tough to manage these tires. Watching Joel Ekman battling back here at the we'll call it the mid pack, but right now it's a little bit of what's of who's left, but it's P15, so battling for points. Oh, and Josh Slay slides it, takes it back. Poor Joel had nowhere to go there. Jonathan Cuppet, wow. Wow, I bet John is having a moment there. That was lap traffic in front of Jonathan Cuppet, but there was cars going every which direction. That's unfortunate. It looked like Joel was following there, and Slade just maybe had a little problem getting the power down. The car went sideways, and then you get into hacking in the wheel and trying to get it back together, and Joel just was kind of in no man's land there. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes just using those pedals lightly just to shift the balance a little bit will net you better results than hacking at the wheel and trying to stay in it or doing anything too abrupt. These cars with the less aero on them tend to move around pretty well. So right now, watching Mark DeGraw work on Dale Ballweg for 15th. Let's hop on board with Mark. So Mark must have taken maybe another pit stop here because he's got the rear wing damage fixed now, and he's on the primary tire. Dale is too, so pace difference should just be driver and any push to pass. Man, it looks like Mark's either just taking some nice smooth lines or maybe he's fighting some understeer on those tires. Looks like he's on the button though. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier tonight, the straights here are there's some areas where you have an opportunity to get the power down, but a lot of them actually aren't straight, or there's kind of a bend you're accelerating through, and then you get a short straight. So there's not with 15 seconds of it at your disposal, you're not on the street for 15 seconds, so you've got to deal with the extra power somewhere, right? Yeah, that final complex is such a roller coaster there. We've seen a lot of guys just you know, having trouble just kind of keeping the car underneath them in that section as, the weight changes over the hills. Right on board with Alan Jacobs working Jonathan Cuppet now for P8. Brad Marys just came in for another pit stop, so we knew if he was running 12 laps a stint, he was due. Starting to wonder if this is going to work out for Brad. I know he's had a couple incidents, and that's going to affect his overall time, but curious maybe what would have been with the strategy he had worked up. Good battle here. Both drivers on the alternate tires, so on the faster compound. I was maybe expecting to see Allen get on the button there. Looks like he's kind of content just to ride behind. Now, tell me, Tay, how was the aero wash behind these cars? I know it's a reduced aero package for the 18 car. Is there still a significant amount of aero wash? Gotcha. Cuppet pulls in the pits there. That's going to give Jacobs P8. Let's check on John Houston, who we haven't really said anything about tonight. Poor John hasn't got any airtime, but he's got 30 kilograms, last week's winner, and put in a solid run for P7, which at the current moment would net him and his teammate both top tens, and he would lose some weight for next week. So T. Brock Dambram having a pretty strong run here. Looks like he's in the pits. Yeah, he ducked in. I'm guessing Lemansky's probably going to take another. He's going to take us to the alternates and go for a faster end here because we only got 13 laps left. Not too many. So Philippe's still out front and just a good showing by him, and he's just putting in work. It's been a race. It's been a game of mistakes tonight. Whoever has the least. I don't think we're going to see a perfect race. I mean, we've already seen Philippe have an incident. He's in first, and Ian got in the back of that lap car, and he's about 20 seconds behind Philippe. Granted, he's on the faster tires right now, so he is reeling him in a little bit at a time. Let's take a look at Philippe's time. I don't know if I can get back to his previous times. Yeah, I think he was running about 15, 16 laps on those alternates. So he was taking the alternates about as far as you can take them, which would have put him in about lap 30, and I think he was going to run the distance on the primary. So I'm I, I'm not expecting to see Philippe in again. I think he's going to stop alternate primary of Ian. Let's check Ian's times. So Ian must have just came either that's a pit stop lap. So lap 38, he took his second set of alternate tires because I know he started primary. So he's gonna yeah he's got just about 12 laps to go and about 18 seconds up the road to Philippe. So he's doing the time. I mean Philippe's last lap was a 108.9, although Ian had a terrible lap at a 111, so he must have had an incident there. Um, no, I think Philippe took alternates for the first two stints. He just took the alternates deep. He took them 15, 16 laps. So his stint will be a little bit shorter on the primaries. I mean, Ian's doing mid 107s to Philippe's, high 108. So as the math works out, it's going to be close. Maybe a second or two. And that's granted they've got to get around lap cars and they've got to keep it on track. So we'll keep eyeballs on that. He's down in the 16-second range. Like you said, Ezra just having a kind of a walk in the park, if you would. I mean, he was around the cars earlier. He was definitely uh, always in the top five, but it's managed just to find himself a little space on track. Now Matt is 7 seconds back of Ezra. and he's on the alternate tires, so there may be a race there yet. Brad's in your top. He's your rounds out your top five. He is on the primary tire finally. Careful hopping in a chat room with Brad tonight. I'm sure he's going to be fired up. Yeah, we've seen a couple battles with Jake tonight, and looks like he's just kept it clean and consistent. Although I mean his times would look pretty strong. His best time of a 108.6 tonight, and his last lap was a 109.4. I mean that's not qualifying pace, but he's on the alternate. He's having a good run, and he's in the top 10, and he's got Iggy behind him on primary, so he's probably in good shape to hold on to that position. Looks like Cup it's pretty far up the road though. Well, especially at a track like this when you know there's going to be incidents, you know there's going to be attrition. The cars that did stay in at about that halfway mark have stayed in. So, and just as I say that, oh no, he's giving Matt some room. That's Jake was being a nice fellow there and going out wide to let Matt clear him. So I just saw that as Parsons in the pits. Parsons is in the pits. Chris has had a rough night. No, sorry, Chris. Hate to put you on blast like that, but I went to Chris once or twice, and looks like he had some spins and some offs, and just in some tricky positions to get the car back on track. And like you said earlier, it's so tough to get handle the car once it's heated the tires. That this track is also really small, so there's not a lot of space to just whip the car back on track. Sometimes you just got to sit there and wait, find an opening. That costs precious time. So, Alan Jacobs is in the pits with 8 to go. I'm not sure if that's scheduled or not. Yeah. Yeah, we just saw him have that incident earlier where it looked like, I think it was Ekman was innocent bystander. I don't know if he's fixing damage or if he's getting tires. It looked like he's rolling the car back and forth. Did he get in his pit? I've had that happen before. That can be frustrating. Got it. So that's going to move Feemster up another spot. So now he's definitely inside the top 10. I'm assuming Jake's good to go till the end on tires. Looks like he took tires on lap 38, so that'd give him 14 laps on the alternates. He should be able to do that. Uh, Eza came out. Eza's in front of Legmansky. Yeah, Eza just came out in front of Legmansky. That's probably the closest battle we've got right now. Battle for fifth and sixth, and that's the end of the lap cars too. So just 6 cars going to be maybe finishing on the lead lap here. Looks like Ian might have had a problem. He's lost a lot of time to Philippe. Let's go back and check Ian's laps. He No, Werner's not here tonight. And Ian's got a bent wing right now. So I don't know if that was from earlier and he didn't fix it. Oh, he just did a 121. So that was, yeah, he was the one who was off track. we'll have to keep an eye right now on Aaron Parsons. He's got fresh tires. He's pulling away from Kevin Legmansky, and he's 4 seconds back. Runs it really deep there. He's 4 seconds back with 6 laps to go from Brad Marys. So we may see some fireworks here at the end. Get a little bit of racing here after 52 laps. That's a lot of laps around here. That's a workout. Makes him a sitting duck almost. And looks like Parsons, well, I don't know if he was on the push to pass there. If I can read his wheel correctly, he's got 6 left. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but if he's got push to pass left, he's probably getting on. He's got a gaggle of cars in front of him. Mateo on the outside, just keeping it tight. He ducks into the pits. He's got to navigate Slade and Dale in front of him. Oh, man, I might just throw a monkey wrench in his whole plan. It is a battle for 15th and 16th, so you can't. Well, I say you can't, but these guys they want their points too. Yeah, let's zoom out here. Yeah, Legmansky has cleared him. I think he's just hoping to hang on in the back of Ezza. They're on the same tire, but Ezza's are fresher. I'm sure that makes a bit of a difference. Yeah, let's see him have a big wag out there. Let's see what Brad's got up the road ahead of him. Pretty clear track in front of Brad, so this is gonna be go time for Ezza. Brad did a 108.1 last lap. Ezza did a 107.9. And Mansky did a 107.7. So I don't know if that, again, was maybe traffic induced, but Mansky with the better lap on the previous lap. And Ezza was knocking on the door of Brad's fast lap. Just inside of a 10th off. I'm going to jump up to Fleet because poor guy, we haven't shown much of him as of late. He's just got himself a nice little cushion back to Ian Jolicoeur in P2, who lost some ground to him. Matt Taylor having a strong run, P3. Brad Marys, P4. And Aaron Parsons in 5th, running down Brad Marys. He's got that gap to just about a second now. Yeah, we can take a look down there. Yeah, these guys are pretty close. Well, I don't want to give up. I'm getting inside of a second now. Just 6/10 between Parsons and Marys. We're riding on board with Parsons. I took a peek at the push to pass, and if that's accurate, Ez is on the button now, but Brad had 2 left, so Brad might be on it right now too. Oh, Ezra takes it too wide. Oh. Now, where's Kevin? Oh, Kevin's in the back of him. Oh, I don't know if he came on in front of Kevin or if Kevin just didn't know he was off. He was slow there. Yeah, right. We'll hop on board with Kevin, who might have some damage up front now. Ez's wing looks pretty straight. Well, hey. Oh, he takes it in deep. He's close. Lukmansky says he's got 3 push-to-passes left. It don't pay you to bring him home. Might as well use him. He's Yeah, Ez is walking away. Maybe he just realized Ez is just got a little bit better, a little fresher tires and a little bit better pace. Oh, Jake, keep it together. Hang on, partner. Having such a good run. He might be. When did Jake last pit? It's been a while since Jake's pit stop on lap 38, so he might just be nursing old alternate tires. All right, final lap. Philippe Gill. Looks like 4, 5, and 6 have settled down a little bit here. Oh, Ezza, big off. Is that going to let Lekmansky by? It will. Ezza puts it in the beach, out in the sand trap, and he gives Lekmansky the 5th spot. He might have just used a little too much tire. Philippe Gill, 27 seconds out front. This last little complex here. Take a dive into these right-handers. One left-hander left to go. He runs up on the back of the cars, but it won't matter. He can turn the engine off at this point. That's it. There's your winner, Philippe Gill, who is also your points leader. So good on Philippe. He's going to extend that lead a little bit. So it might be. I think he had a pole this season. Well, congrats to Fleet. We'll see if we can get them up here in a minute. I want to get some of these other cars as they go across. We're only going to have a couple to show because 7th and 8th are the first cars lapped down. They've taken the checkered flag. Ian comes in second. Matt Taylor rounds the final corner. He's going to bring it home in third. Brad Marys hangs on. Whoa! Well, I say that maybe a little bit too early as he goosed a little bit in the penultimate corner. He's going to bring it home fourth. Lekmansky gifted P5 by Aaron Parsons, who had a potential to snag 4, and he's going to come home 6. Well, thanks for joining me up here, David. That was nice to have some company there for the last half of that race. Let's now. Is Philippe English speaking? Do we have him in the Discord anywhere? He might not. I don't see him. Okay. All right. I don't see him. He might be off having an ice cold cerveza and checked out early. So congrats to Philippe. Sorry we didn't get a chance to interview you, buddy, but great run by you. Great pace, least amount of mistakes. That's good enough for a win. Ian Joel, of course, going to get the second podium spot. Good showing by Ian, and Matt Taylor's going to grab the third spot. So we'll have to see how this all shakes out officially. Seems we've had some fireworks at the end of a few races this season with penalties, but those are your provisional podium spots. I'm sure the results will be posted here shortly to make sure everything's all up to snuff with the current rules regulations. And thanks, David, for writing that. That's really cool that you've been able to put together that software so we can enforce things like pit road speed limits. That's something we haven't had in the past, and it's really interesting from a viewer's perspective to see that enforced this year. I like it a lot. Yeah, we know there were certain tracks where some tracks like Laguna Seca with the kink right in the there's a left-hander at the beginning of the pit. There's really no way to take advantage of that. But a track like per se like a Monza that we've run in the past or something, those you can just come barreling into the pits full speed, and if you've got one of those early pit stops, you do end up losing some time to those that can just continue accelerating. So. Well, we're making the best of, no Sims perfect out there, right? We do what we can, and thanks again for writing that software. Thanks again for joining me in the booth. Again, Philippe Gill, your winner tonight. So congrats to Philippe, especially if that's his first win, which we believe it is. So props to him and all those that managed to finish the race. Looks like we had 20 or 19. I don't know if who the last person was. 20. He might have ducked out there at the end. He might have had enough to get an official result, but he might have made that mark. But anyways, 20 cars finished, 28 something started, so a tough race here. That's David Zahn. I'm Jesse Olson. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next week. Have a good night.